back to another episode of Haag Ford Tested. We're standing in front of the 2022 F-150 Lightning Platinum. So we're starting off with a full charge. We're going to drive roughly an hour to a local lake where Jason has his boat, which weighs about 4,000 pounds. So we're not maxing this truck out in towing capacity by any means, but we thought 4,000 pounds, nice average low number for someone who's maybe running to the lake back and forth on the weekend, something like that. So we're gonna run out there without the boat, see how the range does. We're gonna do the exact mileage distance of the trip minus the range starting, and we're gonna see if the two mesh, see where we end up. And then we're gonna hook up the boat, drive the same route back, see what happens to the range, same thing, the actual mileage, and how much the range drops.
There's a lot of excitement in this. I mean, the truck's got a lot of cool stuff. I think one of the biggest questions, I know for my personal friends and some people that we've had on the page, is what it'll do towing. So there's not actually a lot of data out on it, so we figured we would just put hard numbers together. And after today, you will know how many more miles it takes off range when you're towing a boat and when you're not. So we're showing about some additions, so it is about $21,000 more than a regular F-150 Platinum with the 3.5 EcoBoost. So it's about a $20,000 add for the Lightning. 320 miles on a full charge. That's just as it sits, towing nothing. So we'll deduct those miles on the way there, and then we'll see how many miles it takes off the range on the way back. And we'll have some solid data for you. It's a cool truck, does a lot of really cool stuff, looks great. We're excited to have it. We're excited to do this test today and put some numbers out there for you guys.
Okay, here we go. We are pulling out. We are resetting our trip. We currently have 317 miles on our range calculator. So we're gonna see what happens. I have to say the driving experience is pretty neat. The acceleration is preposterous.
So if you've never driven an EV vehicle, like even if you have zero interest in one,
they are fun to drive.
You should test drive one just for the response time of the accelerator. It is it's pretty magnificent, to say the least.
It is quieter than your standard F-150. Don't have a motor noise. However, I don't see it as being way quieter because the EcoBoost is already so quiet and
pretty
smooth.
Quiet. Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
So you still have the same amount of road noise, and I think that's the bulk of what you're hearing just in a regular F-150.
Fun fact, this actually does have a button that you can add engine noise. So it kind of takes away the whole shock of the silent motor. You can switch the button on, and as you accelerate inside the truck, it kind of sounds like a little engine noise. It's pretty neat. If you turn that off, it is pretty silent though. pretty weird.
The biggest thing that stands out to me when I'm taking off and reaching speed is you keep waiting for the thing to shift, and it doesn't. It just ramps up and it just stays right there. So that's kind of strange, especially when you're used to a 10 speed in a regular F-150 and you're shifting all the time.
If we're down to 313 miles, we started at 317. We've definitely not went anywhere close to 4 miles, but I'm anxious to see when we get on the interstate and get it up to 70 mile an hour,
how it does.
Maybe set cruise control. I'm anxious to see if it adds any miles to the range. Like, I'm not sure how it calculates that, if it calculates it by an estimate or by the way you're driving at the moment.
Yeah, it's dropped pretty significantly for the little bit that we've gone so far.
I mean, we've went what? Have we went a mile and a half yet?
We had 2 stoplights, and I think that's we've gone 2 miles and it's dropped. What, 6 miles?
Yeah, like 7, 8 miles already.
We're gonna get on the highway. We're gonna set the cruise at 70 there. We're gonna set the cruise at 70 on the way back with the boat, so everything is the exact same. And we're gonna see what it does. We're 23 miles in essentially. We're down to 279 miles on the range, and
started at 317.
So we're a little off right now. But most of that did come as we were getting onto the highway. Now that we're on since we've been on the highway, it seems to be pretty even between the range and the trip odometer. So, well, we just finished part 1 of this trip, pulling in the boat storage now, hook up to the boat. Our way out here was 41.9, so we'll call it an even 42 miles, and our range is now at 259 miles.
So we're 317 to 259 is what it took to get out here without a boat.
All right, boat's hooked up, pulling out. About to be the moment of truth. See what we're working with here. F-150 Lightning towing range. Could be interesting. We are resetting our trip, and we are at 259 miles to go on the old range display. So let's see what roughly 4,000 pounds worth of boat behind us does on our trip back. Here we go, back on the highway. Get up to about 70 and set that cruise like we did on the way here. We have gone 39 miles, and our range has dropped 100 miles. So it's about what I kind of expected. We're gonna get back to the dealership, sit down and probably work out some percentages just so we can kind of see what you could expect on a full charge towing something similar to this. So yeah.
So like in closing, I feel like if you're on a flat surface, if you don't have a lot of elevation or anything, I feel like the truck did fairly decent. I think it was pretty true to its miles, even towing. But man, when you have the slightest incline, the miles just rush off the range so quick. Like every 2 seconds we were losing a mile if we were going uphill. So towing uphill is a maybe an issue.
It definitely clicks them off, and yeah. I think at the beginning of this trip back with the boat, it had a lot of downhill. It had a lot going for it. But once we flattened out, got on the highway and hit some incline, it went down pretty good. So anyway, we're gonna get back and write down all the final numbers and stuff, and then we'll be back on camera. So here we are, it's the day after our towing test, and we just kind of wanted to break down exactly miles, percentage of range, and that sort of thing. So on the way to get the boat, we went 42 miles. Our range dropped 58 miles, which gave us a 72% actual miles versus what the range miles were saying, which would project a real world range of 234 miles unloaded without the boat. On the way back, we did 40.4 miles. Our range dropped 101 miles, which would put it at a projected 40% of
the max
mileage
range
as a percent of range. So the projected range towing would have then been 130 miles based off of what it originally told us the range was.
Let's remember when we started this, the truck was showing a range of 320, 318 probably when we pulled out. So to shorten things up, out of a 318 mile range, if you're towing the entire time, I feel like you would have got probably 140 miles of that, maybe.
You get about half. I would say it's about 50% reduction. And this was towing roughly a 4,000 pound boat. So it's pretty limited on miles.
If you do plan on getting a Lightning and you're going to tow with it, please just use this video and use caution. I mean, we definitely don't want anybody to get stuck. Like, make sure you plan accordingly with your charging and setting your route up. I wanted to point out though, the entire time, first off, the route we took, I mean, it did have inclines. It had, it was downhill some. It was all terrains. So I wanted to point out that the truck had zero problems with power.
It's an amazing ride.
It will pull
a ton of power.
Yeah. and will definitely
did it
pull
easily.
whatever.
And
Yeah,
it is very fun to drive.
and it will pull anything you got. It's just you need to watch your range a little bit. In closing, I mean, what would you say about the truck? What did you think overall?
It's awesome. It's fun to drive. The response is unbelievable. It's preposterous, really. It's unlike anything I've drove. It's just with the whole EV thing for me in general has always been range based off of my lifestyle. Granted, if you drive your truck to work every day, 50 miles there and back, charge it at night, and you don't really go far on it with the weekends, you're never going to have to pay for gas again. So that would be nice. It's just there's a niche group I think for it, and it's going to work perfect for that niche. And
Absolutely. I think in closing, awesome truck. We just wanted to give you the numbers, the facts, because I know it's kind of cloudy out there some. And I think if nothing else, go give it a shot. I mean, go drive one, see if it's right for your lifestyle. In closing, in my end, I don't feel like it's the family towing the boat vacation vehicle. But going out to your favorite restaurant, going to work 4 days a week, and not having to deal with paying for gas, I honestly think there's a really big niche in it in the world. But I probably wouldn't do it as an only car. I feel like
if you want the superiority ride of an F-150 through the city, short trips, have constant access to power, and want an amazing driving experience, it might be a very good option for you. But like I said, it's all about what your needs are and what you want to do with it.
that's it. Hopefully we answered a bunch of questions. I have nothing else. Do you have anything else?
I have nothing else.
And hopefully you guys have a little more knowledge in towing in the EV vehicle department. So
Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it.